All right, today we're going to focus on one of art history's most powerful and, honestly, most resilient figures. For way too long, she was overlooked, but not anymore. We're talking about the Baroque master, Artemisia Gentileschi. And, that's not just some dramatic question for an intro. It really gets to the very core of Artemisia's story. Think about it. In an age where women were pretty much just the subjects of paintings, she picked up the brush herself and basically demanded to be seen as the creator. Her entire life, and especially her art, is a testament to that incredible fight. Okay, so to really get who she was, we've got to go back, way back, to 17th century Rome. Now, this place was buzzing. It was the center of an artistic revolution, full of intense competition and some serious drama. And right in the middle of this completely male-dominated world, that's where her journey begins. So she had these two major artistic forces pulling at her. On one side, you've got her dad, Orazio Gentileschi. He was a super respected painter himself, and he gave her that solid classical training. But then, on the other side, there was the notorious bad boy of the Baroque art scene, Caravaggio. And it was his style, that radical, high-contrast, almost brutally realistic way of painting that really, truly lit a fire in her. But here's the thing about Artemisia. She was no copycat. She didn't just imitate the men around her. No way. She absorbed their techniques, sure, but then she channeled her own life, her own experiences, her unique perspective as a woman into a style that was 100% her own. And it was all defined by these dramatic clashes of light and shadow. Okay, take her early painting, Susanna and the Elders. Now, this was a really popular story to paint back then. But most male artists painted Susanna as kind of passive, maybe even a little flirtatious. Artemisia's version? Completely different. She paints a young woman who is clearly, genuinely distressed. She's vulnerable and she's actively trying to fight off these men. You can literally feel her discomfort. It's a woman's perspective on a woman's story, and for the time, that was absolutely revolutionary. So, the secret weapon she used to get this kind of emotional punch was a technique called chiaroscuro. It's an Italian word that literally just means light-dark. But trust me, it's so much more than a simple trick of the light. In Artemisia's hands, it's a powerful storytelling tool. It's like a spotlight on a dark stage, forcing you to look exactly where she wants and cranking up the drama to an almost unbearable level. And here we see that technique in full force. I mean, look at this. That single candle isn't just there to light up the room. It's the entire dramatic engine of the painting. It literally carves the figures out of this deep, oppressive darkness. It creates so much tension and suspense. The light shows you one thing, but you just know those shadows are holding all the secrets. Well, her mastery of drama and emotion was about to be intensified in the most tragic way possible. After she was brutally assaulted by another artist, she then had to endure a public trial where she was shamed and even tortured. It's horrific, but she channeled all of that fury, all of that pain, and that deep need for justice directly into her art. And it all came to a head in the one painting she's most famous for. And here it is, Judith slaying Holofernes. Let's just take a moment. This is not a passive or delicate version of this biblical story, not even close. This is an act of intense, physical, brutal violence. And it's all carried out with this chilling determination. It's so visceral, it's almost impossible to look away. The very first thing that just jumps out at you is the sheer raw strength here. This isn't some effortless, magical act from God. No, this is a real physical struggle. You can see the women bracing themselves, their muscles are tense, they're working together to overpower this guy. And then you've got to look at Judith's face. There's zero doubt there. No hesitation. It's just grim, focused determination. She is in complete control. She is the one driving her own story, not just some passive instrument for a higher power. And finally, the realism. Wow. Artemisia does not shy away from the brutal details at all. It's unflinching. It's almost clinical. And that realism forces us, the viewers, to confront the violence head on. You can't ignore it. It turns a private trauma into a powerful public statement. Now, this detail right here is so telling. Just look at the arms of Judith and her maidservant. They are in this together. This is a team effort. See, a lot of male artists at the time would paint the maidservant just kind of standing on the side, watching. But Artemisia, she makes her a crucial, active participant. This is a story about female solidarity. It's about shared power. But the story isn't over, because she didn't just paint the climax of the action. She also painted what happened next. And here, in another painting, we see that exact moment. The violent struggle is done, and it's replaced by this super tense, quiet suspense. You can see Judith shielding the candlelight, listening, terrified of being discovered. See? Artemisia wasn't just painting a single moment. She was a master storyteller, giving us the whole narrative. So, you see, Artemisia's rebellion wasn't just something she put on her canvases. She took that fight into the real world, into the art world itself. And she managed to achieve a level of professional success that was, well, it was pretty much unheard of for a woman back then. Get this. She was the first woman ever to be accepted into the Accademia delle Arti del Disegno in Florence. That's the Academy of Drawing. And this wasn't just like getting a membership card. This was a massive public statement. It meant she was officially publicly recognized as a master painter, right up there with all the men. And she really sealed the deal with this unbelievably bold self-portrait. I mean, look at this. She doesn't just paint herself as an artist. She paints herself as the very idea of painting itself, the allegory of painting. She's in the middle of creating, she's a little messy, she's focused, she's powerful. It's just such a radical statement about creative identity and, yeah, about female genius. So why are we still talking about Artemisia Gentileschi today? Why does her work, 400 years later, still captivate us so much? Well, it's because her legacy is about so much more than just a collection of beautiful and brutal paintings. I mean, for one, she was a true pioneer. She was kicking down doors for women in the arts when those doors were bolted shut. She took the absolute worst trauma from her own life and transformed it into these powerful public statements about justice. She was an incredible storyteller who took these old, familiar stories and completely reclaimed them, telling them from a new, urgent female perspective. At the end of the day, she's just this timeless icon of resilience and a perfect example of the power of a creative voice that simply refuses to be silenced. Her work really is so much more than just art history. It's a story of unbelievable courage, of raw talent, and, it's also a story about us, about history finally catching up to her genius and giving her the recognition that she has always, always deserved.